I'm Dr. Juliana. I'm a marriage and family therapist and licensed professional counselor. Man Made is a series looking into the journey of becoming a man, and not just any man, a good man. It is not a benign endeavor to seek these two questions. What does it mean to be a good man? And what are the pathways in becoming one? In this series, I'm talking with men from all walks of life, professions, locations, ages, races, and political and spiritual beliefs. I asked these men to represent his own experience and beliefs within his journey of becoming a good man and his thoughts on what is needed to create and support good men in our current environment. My hope is that collectively, these good men's stories form a powerful and private understanding of what it is like to be a good man in this day and age. Welcome to Man Made, my conversations with good men. Hi, this is Dr. Juliana, and welcome. I am really excited, one, for myself to have this conversation with Bradley, but also to introduce you to Bradley Richardson. Welcome, Bradley.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I am so happy to meet you. I put how we met, which is, 5 minutes ago? We had a mutual Facebook friend who, when I put a post up about, do you have good men that you think would be interested in this interview? I think she was one of the first ones to come out and immediately recommended you. And I was
happy and surprised too. I see my name on there, like, wow, okay, wow, nice.
So what did you think when you heard about what it was that like a good man series or interviewing those who were good men?
I'm thrilled that you're doing it. It's long overdue. It's necessary for a variety of reasons. I mean, taking myself out of it, and I'm just going to go ahead and say now, look, I'm thrilled. I'm even happier that someone else put me up for this, because I thought the arrogance involved was saying, well, I'm a good guy. Yeah. No, I mean, do I like to think of myself as? Yeah, but I do have my moments of douchebaggery. I'm not perfect either. And I think any good guy is really flawed at some level, and that's how they became a good guy. But when my first thoughts of it, I thought it was great. And it was also, I was encouraged because a woman's doing it. You know, it's not, and look, there are plenty of guys doing great things and doing similar types of things, but you know, it could easily come off as a response to what's going on in society now. Like, hey, well, we're really good. And I think it's even better for a woman to be able to go, no, there really are some good guys. And I also like it because this is something I've thought of too. You know, I know, and we'll get into questions and all, but I know personally, I'm an interesting bird in that I can play on both sides of the pendulum here, socially. And I know guys who are really good, genuine guys out there, and who are popular in the media and on the web, who some are, you know, they've got they're the bearded alphas that drive in the trucks, and they have a full arsenal out in, you know, the Pacific Northwest. And you know what? They're great guys because they love their families, love their children. They are great in the community. They're just good-hearted guys. And then the flip of that, and I know one in particular is someone who I think you're going to be talking with, who I like, is about as you know, L.A. peace, love, and light, namaste as you can get. And I think what it is, there are good guys that have very different lifestyles, have very different, you know, political, social opinions, and doesn't mean that they aren't good men and that they aren't good to their friends, their family, their children, their women, their community, and themselves. And doesn't mean that, you know, just because some dude drives a truck and has a beard and has guns doesn't mean he's equally strong as the guy who is, you know, Mr. Peace, love, and light. Yeah. And like I said, I'm, you know, I can walk in both worlds with equal comfort. And that's odd, but it just is. And so I was encouraged to see not only that you're doing it, but who you're doing it with too.
Oh, yeah. And me too. And that's been a fascinating thing of, I wanted to open it up to other people's view of who was in their life. And I wanted to be able to have like an array of what a good man is, and see if by the end, if we have a concept of it, if we feel better about what those words mean, or if we have a better conversation about it. And then when I started looking you up more, I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be fascinating to talk to. So I I'm curious about, like, in your journey of becoming a man, what were and what are some of the pivotal moments or people along your journey that you think influenced you?
Wow. I think one thing, at least for my journey, is I'm still on it. I think that's it. I turned 52 last week. I've got kids that are 22, 20, and 17, two boys and a girl. My oldest is a girl. And I can tell you that my journey has had multiple chapters. My journey has, I am a very different man at 52 than I was at 22 than at 32. And part of that is, I don't say by design, it's by necessity. It's by, evolving of what's around you. I also believe too, and everybody's got their story, everybody's different, but for mine, I've had a lot of success, and I have completely screwed the pooch and been kicked in the ass as well, multiple times. Okay. I mean, it's like, it is my life to this point, my adulthood has been a Six Flags ride. And, I'm trying now to even it out, but in retrospect, I would change things. People say, oh, do you have regrets? Oh, yeah, you got regrets. I think Frank Sinatra had regrets. You're an idiot you're lying if you say you have no regrets. Yeah. But I think for me, the biggest things were the failures and the adversity. That's really it. And I know that, look, I think now the trend has been towards what they call failure porn. People are always about, oh my God, tell me the sad story and you're triumphant. Okay, well, I'll tell you, but it's not so people can, dwell on that. It's just life, and pivotal moments were, I did not have I guess this is the Oprah portion. Your Oscar moment. No, look, I had a shitty dad. I did. I just, my mom, I had a mom who, I grew up in West Texas, in Lubbock, Texas. More of the weird upbringing. I grew up in West Texas, Lubbock, and I played tennis growing up. So I was like, one of the tops of the country and trade that. So you've got this crazy upbringing there, yet I'm in this whole other world. And my mom was the key. She taught me and my sister about the arts, about optimism, about being passionate. This is a woman who never went to college, who, had the craziest ass accent ever. And I mean country accent. And I learned more from her about being a man than I ever did from my dad. And I believe, we talk about, that's a thing. Are there good men out there? Yeah. Are there shitty men out there? Absolutely. Are there men who just completely, don't show up? Yeah. And I had one of them. And for me, when I had kids, that was it. And I know I'm kind of curveballing this thing, but it makes sense. For me, the biggest things were things I personally had to overcome, and then being a father. And I know that there are a lot of people who will be watching this who don't have kids or don't want kids or anything, and that's okay. And there are alternatives to that, and there are many other facets to it. But for me personally, I had such a horrific experience with the male role models in my life that when I had kids, I was partially terrified and partially putting all the chips in the middle of like, damn it, I'm gonna make this thing work. Okay. I didn't have a great marriage, but I had an amazing experience as a father. And, there are many stories of that, but it's the idea of sacrificing and trying to be an example for them and failing along the way sometimes and owning that has been probably the biggest thing. And I feel like it's funny. I mean, when I turned 52, I moisturized. I look 32. No, but I said I felt younger. And the reason for that is I feel like a lot of my adulthood has been in hibernation or in hiatus almost, because where a lot of people, our society is it's not a sociological call, but it's my experience as a man. So a man in Dallas, Texas. Okay. Sorry. I'll bag on Dallas for a while. And I know every town is like this, but my formative experience was, I ran with a pretty fast crowd, and it was, I don't mean party crowd, but I mean, it was like, oh, well, you're expected to make this much money and this is what it is. And as a guy, that is so fucking emasculating, You know, when your self-worth is not, are you raising good kids? Are you faithful to your wife? Are you a good guy? Well, okay, well, if you make 400 and above, okay. When that's a difficult thing. And I think there's a lot of pressure with
Lot of
that.
pressure. Mm-hmm.
Tons of pressure. And that's why you have, boy, I'll go off on a tangent on this. That's why you have a lot of guys in their 40s who are, a lot of guys who are depressed, suicidal, all these things. And that's where, I can't tell you how many guys of my age over the past 10 years, once you peel back, the curtain a little bit, because no one talks about this, an insane amount of bravado, an insane amount, and the ones who are really self-aware, and you and I talked about this in the beginning, and I think that this is part of this whole, not a movement, but men are very reluctant. Women are on the web. It's, let me tell you about this, and they're open, and they'll pursue activities and things. And guys, you won't. But once you get past the surface level bullshit questions, I've had more guys come and go, hey, you know what? Yeah, I've thought about suicide. Or I've really, really depressed, or God, the pressure on this, or I just need a friend, a real friend, not the buddies that are the surface level stuff. So anyway, sorry, that's a long-winded thing, but.
Do you find in your life that you're the guy in the group that's willing to take that risk and ask those questions as well as share it more than others? Or have you been surrounded around people and men that are doing that?
Well, I think that's another thing, and that's part of, I think a lot of men's evolution. I think and I'm not touting my thing in here, but I think it's a risk to do. I am the guy who does that. I am the guy of my group, of my circle of friends, or in anything, who's probably going to be more open. I've always been that way with it. I'm fascinated by that, but I also, I don't give a shit. Here's the part of my adult life, in my say 30s or so, my 30s and all, when I was married and a younger man, I was so consumed with playing the game, meaning, this is what's expected of you. This is what society is expecting. This is what your spouse expects. This is it. That I was miserable, and I was living someone else's life, and I was not comfortable in my own skin. I was not being the man that I needed to be. I was just a fucking chameleon, and I hated that. And I think a lot of guys are. To your point, I think that once you hit a certain point in life, and or at least my experience, and the more men I talk to who are in their, say, 40s and early 50s, you start evaluating things, and you start asking these questions, and you start taking that risk of being a little more vulnerable, a little more open, a little more figuring out, hey, you know what? Look, I have fewer summers ahead of me than I do behind me. What the hell am I going to do with it? Yeah. And that's not to be maudlin, but that's just okay, what do you want to do? What's on your agenda? I mean, forget the bucket list. Hey, I think I want to go do Europe or this, that, or the other. But for me, anyway, it was, okay, what type of man do I want to be? And now, especially my daughter graduated University of Texas this year. I got another kid that's just almost out of school. He's in Australia now. And I'm just like, all right, I've done a great job with them. Now, what about me? What am I going to do? What's my mark, my legacy for everybody else, but for me now? And that's not to be selfish, but that's what type of man do I want to be from this point forward? And not who they say that society wants me to be, but there's a freedom that goes in with that, and it's also scary as shit. Circling it back, sorry, you asked about friends. I dumped a shitload of friends this past 24 months. I scorched the earth. Now, I don't mean it was like, screw you, you're no good, nothing like that. But I let a lot of things die. I stopped giving energy and service to a lot of people and a lot of things that weren't positive, weren't serving me. And I look at life in two ways. I look at it as a book made of chapters, and sometimes it's okay to write a character out of a chapter. It's totally okay. Nothing wrong with that. They've served their purpose. And, there's some that I admire people who have lifelong friends, and men that can do that are fantastic. But I think that you hold on to a lot of people out of convenience or comfort when it's not serving you. And so the challenge or risk as a guy, women can do this much better, I think. But as a guy, letting some things go and being vulnerable to pick up new friendships and relationships is hard but necessary. The older you get.
Mm-hmm. I want to go back to something that you just said, which was about asking yourself, like, what kind of man do I want to be? And it's interesting because several of the guys that I've talked to have had that moment of asking, and it's all been different things that brought them to that place. But I'm curious, not what your answer is, but how are you figuring out that answer?
How did I figure out what type of man I wanted to be?
Like, what kinds of process is that?
Getting kicked in the ass a lot.
Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, I'm not being flippant about it.
Yeah.
I can give some great spiritual answer. I think how you come, and you're right, the answer is irrelevant, because it's different for everybody. But I believe you get to that point by trying on a lot of things for size. I think that's really it. Sometimes, and I don't care whether it is a life experience, character, type of person you want to go out with, type of relationship you want to have. Okay. Anybody that's divorced, and you start dating again if you've been married for a while, well, I think I want to go out with this and this. And then you try it, and some things are worse than you expected. Okay. Infinitely worse. And some are far better. And I think that's just it. I think we have, for me anyway, it was this, boy, life, you wake up, it's not one single moment. At least for me, it wasn't one single aha moment. It was a series of things of like, wow, that isn't what I thought. That didn't work out. This isn't as satisfying as I want. I don't like who I am. For me, it's a lot of looking in the mirror, and I think that's the hard part is, and I know that can be very cliche, but it was like, I made some, like I said, I've been a great guy, and I've had my dirtbag moments as well, in a variety of things. And I think when any man actually can step up and have the pelotas to ask himself that, and that doesn't come from, someone else saying, sometimes it's from someone else saying it, but that's a trigger. That's all that is. It's really you just going, boy, I don't like I don't like who I am after that decision. I don't like this. And so for me, a lot of it was, I say independence, but it's not independence in what we think of in a traditional sense. It's I wear a lot of bracelets. Okay. It's not because I like Johnny Depp or anything like that. It's each of these have significant meaning to them. Okay. And one of them, the silver one here is about be your own man. That's it. And I got that right after I got divorced. I was married 16 years, and it was about God has a purpose, God's great universe, whatever, has a purpose for everything. And that purpose for us was to make 3 stunning, amazing individuals. Okay. But I'm West Texas extrovert, outgoing, borderline obnoxious. She was, East Coast Jewish, it was like yin, yang, oil, water. But I sacrificed a lot of who I was for that marriage, because I'm from that generation of, damn it, we're going to make this thing work. My parents were miserable and they stayed together, and
my God, we're going to do it.
That's what I'm going to do too. Because I thought being a good man meant you work it out. And, I finally came to the realization I'm the one that left. And because I didn't like the type of man I was for my kids in that situation. And as a result, I thought it would be better for my children and me, for them to at least endure a short term of sadness so they can have 2 happy parents rather than 2 really miserable parents together. And that was one of probably, I'd say maybe 4 big pivotal moments for me of figuring out, I don't like the man I am. I don't know who that's going to be, and it's going to take shape. But let's go find out, because I'm unwilling to die with this. I'm unwilling to die, not being truthful, or at least exploring that. And for me, that was pivotal. And that's not easy, or it's scary. And when you tell your friends or people you've known in your circle who know you a certain way, or who are unwilling to do that themselves, boy, you are a pariah real quick.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, it takes so much courage to, like you said, like to examine yourself and to say, this isn't what I can be and do moving forward. I mean, and unless you have been put in that position or in that position of making that choice, it's hard for people to understand. And what it does to that self-reflection and what that does to those moments of stillness.
Well, it wasn't, for me, there were two things. It was one, I had spent so much time living someone else's life or their expectations that I wasn't exploring who I wanted to be. And I mean, professionally, personally, artistically, creatively, anything, it's just, you constantly feel judged and, yeah, people are judging you, but sometimes when you put that burden on yourself, and an undue burden, you don't need to. We judge ourselves so much harder than other people do, because it's easy for us to be flippant and go, oh, zero fucks given. But, really you're judging yourself harder than anybody else. And, for me, it was, I saw so many people of my contemporaries, they were making a shitload of money but they were unhappy in a marriage, unhappy in their business, and they felt captive, or they weren't doing something that was truly their passion. And I know that's another cliche word that's thrown out there, but for me, it was, the Cliff Notes version is, I started out like gangbusters in my 20s. I wrote everybody now can write a book, but I mean, like I had Random House publish my first book at age 27. Okay. And I mean, I crushed it out of the gate on several books. This is before pre-Amazon, all that good stuff. And so I'm crushing it, and I gave up a lot of that. I gave up that whole career and path to step off, to be a dad, to pursue the career and, everything that was expected of me by in-laws and everything else. And it killed me because I wasn't the man that I knew I was or was meant to be. That doesn't mean a damn thing about, fame, popularity, success, money, or anything, but I'm just sitting there going, I got a lot of gas in the tank here. And I don't know how that's going to manifest itself. I don't know how that's going to look, but I'm not willing to go out with gas in the tank. I want to go out on fumes. I want to be coasting into death on fumes here with nothing left. And it was also not just professionally, but, and yeah, I'm kind of woo-woo anyway. But I wrote about this. It was in my heart. I had this weird dream a while back, and you can stop me anytime if I'm ranting too much, but I mean, it was, I had this weird dream about a year ago, I guess, that I had a heart attack. Okay. And which is not uncommon for guys who are 52. And so, but I woke up, and you have these weird dreams when it's okay. You're the therapist, when it's something else internally talking to you or externally. So I wake up and I dreamt I had a heart attack, and I dreamt that they did the autopsy. And when they're doing the autopsy, they're cutting in. It's not like my heart was clogged or, you were fat or anything like that. It was that my heart had burst because I had all of these ideas, creativity, love, and things like that inside. There's nowhere for it to go. So it exploded and I died. Huh. Kind of morbid. But I thought, holy shit. And I woke up and I thought, I want to die with an empty heart. That's what I want to do. I want to give the whole damn thing away in every which way, everything I can do. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know how successful it's going to be. But if I die tomorrow by hit by a bus, or at 93 when I want to check out, then I was a good man and gave it all away for my kids, my community, but most importantly to myself. Because I can't take care of anybody else if I can't take care of me.
Have you always been a man? Has it always been part of your personality, who you are, to not be afraid of asking those questions?
No, personally, no. I've always asked that. I've always, I've always kind of been really introspective.
Yeah.
Where that's concerned. Now, I'd say if you ask a lot of my friends, people that know me, they would say, no, I'm pretty fearless about saying those things. But the fact of the matter is, boy, I haven't said 3/4 of what I really want to, because it takes a while there's a difference between the zero F's given, cockiness, arrogance, to confidence of being comfortable in your skin. And that's just it. I think for the
that's knowing. I think the difference is knowing who you are and authenticity.
yeah, and knowing it and being comfortable with it. I think that's the biggest thing. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm still working on it. I will still work on it until the day I die, which is good. I want to be cool old grandpa, still working on it and trying stuff. But I think that we all, and a lot of men, most men probably, I'm generalizing, but it's true. I think a lot of men hide those things. Okay, and to your point, I'm in Atlanta right now, so I go back and forth between Dallas and Atlanta, and I'm in Atlanta. I'm in a men's store the other day. Okay, weirdest thing, and I don't know whether it's like some sort of weird magnet thing I have going on with just getting people to open up, but I'm talking to these two dudes who work in the men's store. One of them's my age, sharp dude, he's about 50 or so. Another is a young guy about 35, and we start talking about. They asked me what I do, and I told them about writing about advanced adulting and stuff like that. And we start talking about women naturally. Here's the key. If you want to get the guys to open up, you start about women and relationships or business, and then anything will open up. But rarely is a guy going to go, I think I want to find my inner self and be interested.
Right.
Okay. No. But we start talking, and the most amazing thing is we start talking about relationships with women and communication, which is my wheelhouse. Love that stuff. And one of the guys the younger guy, he says, all I really want, he goes, my girl now understands me, because all we really want is when we're vulnerable, we just want to feel safe. And I thought, it is true, because really, I don't care how tough you are, how long your beard is, or whatever, when you're with somebody, your friends or a woman or anything, if you're going to open up, okay, it's just, I'll do it. Just don't judge me. Don't judge me. Let me say what's on my mind. Don't fix me. Don't judge me. And I'll give you whatever you want.
So when you bring up safety, I had a few words I want to be able to say in a row to you and see what your thoughts were. And you said it before I could, so that's fascinating also. So I want to say a few words that just tell me what comes up for you of that word and men, or that word and you. So one is safety.
Safety is paramount. Safety is paramount. That's it. You're a therapist. You could have a field day with me. No, my dad was a crazy narcissist, and it was always perfection. How you look, did you win? You better speak right, do everything properly. So what I did, I went out and married my dad. I married the female version of my dad, and it was always I had a Wall Street Journal bestseller at age 27, but it was never good enough. And nothing was ever good enough or made enough or anything. And when I said something or shared something, it was always a judgment. And so for me, being safe is, I don't mean safe in a security way, but safe in that, hey, I'm supposed to, if I'm in a relationship, okay. Here's the funny thing. And people that know me will say this, okay? I mean, it's a weird compliment, but people have said, Bradley, years ago in Dallas, is that there are people in this town who would take a bullet for you, and others who would want to put one in you. And I thought, okay, I can live with that, because it's amazing how bold you can be and how outspoken you can be in certain things. But as a man, with the woman who, not put on a pedestal, but the person who you're supposed to be the most vulnerable, the most open, the most trusting with, boy, when they shit all over you or judge you, I mean, and I'm doing a course now on how to get your guy to open up for women. Well, that's it. That's it right there. Just give him that space right there. And, but the moment it becomes you should have, or a judgment or anything, well, you'll shut down. You'll never get him back. Never get him back.
When I work with couples, one of the first things I do is figure out how both in the relationship define safety. Because what may be safe for you and what you need to feel safe is different than what I need to feel safe. But we all kind of like the love languages. How do you know what each other need in order to not accidentally shit all over their safety? I mean,
the love languages thing's huge. I mean, I wish to God I had known about that earlier. But even knowing about it, here's something that I think is important. Knowing what someone's love language is doesn't mean it's always going to work out. for example, I was in a relationship with someone who my top two, hey, words of affirmation and touch. Okay. You know, basically touch my butt, tell me I'm pretty. That's it. I'm good. But it's the, but she, God bless you, she was very much a acts of service. Okay. All right. I'm not an acts of service guy. You know, and I'm like, okay, fine. Or gifts. Mm-hmm. I knew that, but it wasn't my default nature, nor was the other hers. And so, but you're right. I mean, it's, I think it's that way for a lot of men, but it's also very personal too.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Okay. Vulnerability.
Hard for men in general, hard to do. Easier for this generation, for my kids' generation, you know, for people in their 20s, much easier. Mm-hmm. We still have to play a role for guys in their 40s and 50s. I think we're breaking out of it. It's becoming more accepted. I like that. I think you can interchange vulnerability for authenticity sometimes. I think those two are somewhat synonymous, at least in this arena. And for me, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'll be vulnerable. I'll tell you, you know what? You're gonna find out the warts and all anyway. And so, I mean, I'm not gonna do some sort of oversharing verbal vomit on anybody, but you know, love me, hate me, you're gonna figure it out. And I can't do a damn thing about that. I've spent little small sidebar, but you've got kids, you'll understand this one. I don't have, your kids are younger though, right?
I have both. I have older and younger.
Okay, so I had a conversation with my soon-to-be 18-year-old who's, you know, deciding what college to go to. The other two are in college now. And I said, dude, and because he's worried about upsetting somebody, okay? Where should I go? What should I study? Who will I let down? Blah, 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 blah. And I said, dude, you know what? I'm going to give you some weird parenting advice here. As a man and as a parent, I said, you have to play by some rules for about the next 4 or 5 years. That's it. Okay, you do, because you know if somebody's helping you get through school, that's it. But for the most part, your grandparents are going to die. Yeah, they're going to die. Probably not too distant future. Sorry, but it's true. I said, your mom and I, ultimately, you know, she's remarried doing her thing. I'm doing my thing. Love you. I'll be here for as long as I'm him, but I'm going to die too. Your brother and sister living their own lives. Okay, so let me save you 20 years that I lost. Go do whatever the hell you want. Okay, play by the rules. Be a good guy. But do what you want to do, you know, be your own man. Yeah. And I go back to that silver bracelet.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, people are like, oh, I'm getting that this year. I'm getting that tattooed on there, you know, in place of the breast. And because that to me, you know, I like, you know, it's funny. I'm a huge Lewis Howes fan. Okay. So I'm actually 2 days, I'm going to Ohio to go to his Summit of Greatness there. And what's funny is he used to always ask this question that I thought was brilliant. And it was like, how do you, you know, or he used to ask, well, you know, how do you find greatness? And now it's like, what are your 3 truths? So what are the 3 things, if you can't write them down, there's no evidence of anything. And for me, no, okay, so he had this thing about the 3 truths. And, you know, the idea of, hey, look, there's no, you know, all your writings, anything like that doesn't exist. So what are your 3 truths? At least, I mean, for me, it was that idea of being your own person. You know, I say be your own man, but like I've got a daughter, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Be yourself. That's it. And I wasted 20 plus years trying to be, you know, what I thought someone else wanted me to be. Oh, if I do this, this marriage will work out. If I do this, you know, then I'll succeed here professionally. When I, you know, again, when I stopped giving a fuck what anybody else thought about that, playing, you know, not being a jerk, not being a complete rogue or rebel, you know, but still going, hey, this is it. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna be who I want to be and say it, and not hurt anyone, not intentionally offend anybody. But this is who I am and what I believe, and I'm gonna do it. And if you want to come along for the ride, come on. There's plenty of room. But if not, get the hell out of my way. I think that's a big part. And I told that to my son, is just, you know, be the good man, don't hurt anybody, but live your life. Live your life.
What do you think is a good man? Like how would you define that concept or those 2 words together?
It's funny because I mean I've thought a lot about that, and since we booked this too, I've been thinking about it forever, but I mean I thought about it more, and I actually asked some people too. And a couple of things come to mind. One, I was in Dallas about a week or so ago, and just in a weird, bold moment, I'm in Dallas, and there's three women sitting next to me. I'm at Starbucks, and it wasn't a pickup line, I swear to God, but these three just gorgeous women. And you're so sitting so close to you, and three of them were talking about, one of them had just broken up with her guy because he cheated on her, and the other talking about all these guys, and I'm just like, one of these, who the hell would cheat on you, first of all? But of course, I inserted myself in the conversation. So I said, hey, here's who I am, but here's what I'm writing about and doing. I said, I'm just curious, what do you think a good man is? And it was interesting. Without hesitation, I'll go, someone's honest. They go, someone's honest. I thought, okay, interesting. I think that's true, but I don't think that's the defining characteristic. I think that's number 13D of a 29-part checklist
Right.
of a good man.
Yeah.
What I originally think of is growing up in West Texas. To me, it's funny. I have friends from New York or Italians or whatever, and they go, he's a paisan. He's one of us. In West Texas, I always knew he's a good guy. He's a good old boy. And you're in the South. Okay, that was the ubiquitous. You don't have to like him. You don't have to do business with him. You're doing, but he's a good guy. Okay.
And it says everything. It's a paragraph.
That says that is a blanket statement for, he's nice to animals, small children, the elderly. He's not going to cheat you.
Wow.
And
I can vouch for him. I can vouch for him.
Yeah, it is. And every society or culture has one of those. But from West Texas, that was it. And I loved that. And to me, it means I don't have to like you. I don't have to socialize with you. We can disagree on damn near everything, but it's a character thing. And that doesn't mean you're flawless. That doesn't mean, and look, I guess it's another Southern thing too, but look, I know plenty of people who, they love Jesus, but they'll shit all over their neighbor. And that wasn't it. It's not, I'm a good Christian. I'm, a good Jew or good, but whatever. It's none of that. It's more of, hey, it's somebody that is, you don't have to like them, but you can count on them, or you can count on them to, they may not always make the right choice, but they're going to try and make the right choice. I think that's a big part of it right there. And that choice can be anything, in business, with their children, in relationships. It doesn't mean you always hit the mark, but it means if you don't hit it, you recognize it and you try and do better.
I hear the word ownership and accountability too in what you're saying.
Oh, completely. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, it's, you are hard. I go back to that. And I think it's simply because I know how I've screwed up, and I don't shy away from that. It scared me for a long time. It's like, oh, okay. It's not something, when it's bad is when you don't recognize it. When it's worse? When you recognize it and don't change. And there's a lot of really good men out there who you become good. It's like this, okay? I told you earlier, I grew up playing tennis, and I played competitive. I have friends who've, on the tour. I know people who've won Wimbledon. I mean, I played at a very high level up until a few years ago. Well, how do you become good at tennis? You miss a lot of shots. That's it. You miss a lot of balls. You don't make every ball. Federer and Nadal, Serena, they don't hit every ball in. They miss a few. They screw up. They lose matches. And that's how you learn. That's how you improve. That's how you get better. And I don't care if that's business, life, relationships. You know why? Why I am not qualified. Why I'm qualified to talk about a relationship is because I screwed some up. That's why. Right there. Why I could talk. It was funny. I have written books about my kids, and I think some of my friends, my good guy friends, I call them 2% dads. Okay. I think I'm a 2% dad. You know what that means? That means I think I'm in the top 2% of dads. I will own that. I will go up head to head against anybody, and, granted, watch my kids knock over a 7-Eleven tomorrow or something. But as soon as I say that, but I really do. I mean, I think I am a great dad. That is my legacy. That is my thumbprint. But I know that I've made mistakes, and everyone has. I think that's being a good guy. I think that there's a lot of sociopaths out there, men and women. And I never really knew what that word meant until I met some. And, when you go, wow, you just don't, the character thing just doesn't even click. And, I think that's part of what being a good man is, you're going to try to do the right thing, and you may not always make the mark, and you try not to intentionally hurt anybody, and you try and, be as true to yourself and to others as possible.
What does a good man need in his relationship as well as his community to support those good man qualities?
Go a little further. Say that again.
So I'm curious, like in the qualities of like the things that make a man a good man, like in what you're describing, what does he need in a spouse, a partner, to protect, to support, to promote those qualities?
There we go. I forget who said it, but there are several. I think Warren Buffett may have been one of them, but others have said that and again, you can flip this gender ways. It's not just man and men, but it's like if it's a partner, it's a true partnership, right? I think that the level of your success is if you are in a partnership, the level of your success is either greatly enhanced or hindered by your partner. And as someone who does not sound bitter, it's just true. I did not have the best partner in the world, and that hindered a lot. What do you look for in a partner? That ability to, it is a fine line. It is that ability to be able to completely call you on your shit, to completely, call you out when you need it, and to also uplift you, support you, give you enough rope to hang yourself, but be there for you. I think that's it. That's it right there. It's not a black and white hard stop on either. You don't need blind trust and support of, oh baby, you can do it, blow smoke up my ass. And you also don't need the constant, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Both suck. You need a mix, and you need someone who, hey, it's funny. I like how you're doing the Good Man Project, because one thing, and look, I've been single 8 years now. And I at one point after I got divorced thought, oh, yeah, I want to get married again, but I don't need to. And I'm not looking. I think that's a huge deal right now. And I think right after I got divorced, I was in a big relationship and I almost did. Would have been a train wreck. And I look at couples now who, just like you're doing the Good Man Project, I look at couples and I go, oh my God, that's it. That's the Taylor Swift squad goals I want right there. I want that. And it's funny, I'm in Atlanta, and just up the road here, my friend Rob and Kim Murgatroyd, he's got a podcast, Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. Yeah. I look at them and I go, and I've told them both, I go, you guys are part of the rabbits I chase. I want that because they enjoy each other a lot. Okay. They're friends, they're lovers, they're partners. They are, like-minded. They'll call each other on their shit, but they'll support each other. It's the idea of having someone who's your biggest fan, who'll call you on your shit, who you still want to hop in bed with. Yeah. You can pull that trifecta off, I'm on board. And I think that's it. And I think that makes me a better man. I think the couples I look to, and it's funny because I changed. Boy, if women watch this, I'm sinking my dating life for a while. But no, I had several friends of mine and my children call me out, okay, on the type of women that I was attracting. And I was attracting about a really hot broken women, okay? Because it was like, oh, you're a super hot narcissistic train wreck that is broken? Oh, sure, I don't have to focus on my own shit. Awesome. And as a result, it's true. And as a result, I was dragged down on this. When they called me out on that, I'm like, all right, it's time to level up. If I want to level up the man I am, I have two choices, okay? And one of them is a bad choice, but it would be the byproduct. No woman is going to make me who I need to be. No man is going to make a woman who she needs to be at all. So my choice is I need to become the man I want to be, need to be, that's going to attract the type of woman that is going to be that. And that's it. And together, we're going to make shit happen.
Mhm.
And that has been a game changer. I've been alone a lot by choice. Um, but I think that's it. You want someone who is a good man doesn't need a sycophant and doesn't need a mom. Yeah. He needs someone who's going to be that true partner. Hey babe, I got your back, because I don't give a damn how strong you are as a man. It's those moments in business and life, in your own personal goals, in your own personal, who the hell am I right now, when you need to be able to say, hey babe, here's what's going on. Don't judge me on this, but I need to tell you exactly what's happening with me. It has nothing to do with you or the relationship. This is it. And to be comfortable with that. And that's a strong ass man, a strong woman to be able to do that.
Hmm. What is a good man in conflict?
In conflict?
Mm-hmm. Like, how is a good man in conflict?
Oh, like when he's experiences conflict?
Yeah.
Um, that's interesting, because I had a temper growing up. I mean, I played tennis. Okay, most tennis players are babies. Okay, so the whole Serena thing got me, because I'm like, I've destroyed billions of rackets. Really, this is not an issue. I think not being a good man means being a baby and defaulting to ad hominems and thinking of how you can win the battle but lose the war. Okay, I think being a good man in conflict is, what? It's funny. Okay, and I'd be curious if any of your other guys have said this. Roadhouse is like the guy Bible. Okay, it's the Roadhouse, the movie with Patrick Swayze. Okay.
No one else has said that. I will say.
I'm gonna own this one. You need to mention this to guys, because I'm gonna tell you what. It is the weird guy code here, and it works, because it's this. It is the Roadhouse, not Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts baby in the corner, but that works too. I'm talking about, there's a line in there's like, be nice until it's time not to be nice. And I thought, and guys joke about that. It's freaking right. Okay. You know what? Don't be an asshole. Don't fight. Don't argue. Don't puff up until it's time not to. And maybe it's the West Texas in me or not, is, hey, look, I'm not going to start. And look, I've been a jackass for good, in my life. But now that I've grown out of it, mature, look, you don't need to start a fight. No need to poke and prod. But if someone comes at you, finish it. That's the conflict. Know when to walk away. But if someone is coming at you as someone you love, I think that this is a big lesson. Okay, it's interesting you mentioned this, because this just triggered me. One of the biggest mistakes I ever made professionally was walking away from conflict. Okay, seriously. If there's a bully, and a bully can be on a playground, a bully can be in a relationship, a bully can be in business. Okay, when someone's a bully, I think being a good man means not being a wuss, not trying to find, you need to have the good sense to know, look, I've tried to find a solution. I've tried to find a compromise, and it's time. I'm going to punch you in the freaking mouth right now. And I don't care if that's, personally, if that's with attorneys, or say, I'm not going to get rolled over anymore. And I got rolled over once, hard. And it was one of the biggest, most painful mistakes that I had made. And in retrospect, I would sit there and I'd pull the Roadhouse theory. Be nice, be nice, be nice. No, F you. It's time to go. And I think, having that restraint, that reserve, that patience, but when it's go time, okay, I'm not going to let anybody roll over me or the ones I love or anything. Or, for whatever you stand for. It doesn't matter what it is. I think that's the thing. Having that long fuse, but you get there, it's going to blow.
All right, as we wrap it up, I've got two last questions for you.
Okay.
I think I may know the answer to this first one. How much time do you spend thinking about your 80-year-old self?
Not much right now, because I'm busy getting there. But to answer your question, I used to think a lot about it. And it's funny. One of the best exercises that I ever did was I worked with there's a business coach out there, very famous business coach named Dan Sullivan. Okay, and he's worked with a lot of guys. So strategic coach is what it is. It's a business entrepreneur thing. But the first thing you do with them is an exercise, and it's called the life extender. And what you do is you're sitting there and you're thinking, this has nothing to do with business. What are we doing? Basically, they ask you what age you want to go out. How long do you want to have? How long do you want to have on Earth? Okay. And so some people are idiots and they're, 115. No, you don't. No, really. How long do you want to be here? I want to be here until, look, if I don't know who I am and I piss myself, I'm out. Okay. But I said 93. 93 is good. And then what they do, okay, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve in the next 5 years, 10 years? And you stair step it. And they ask you, so at 93, what do you want your life to look like? Financially, your relationships, mentally, everything. So you look at all these giant aspects of your life and say, okay, I want to be mobile. I want to be cognizant. I want to, enjoy my family, all these things. And then they say, okay, well, because here's the thing. I say 93 because my original number was 87. You say 87, and then after you put all these things, they go, okay, congratulations. You live good, clean living. You get 5 more years. What do you want? What do you want to do now? That, you got to really go back to the well and think. And then they flip it and go, of all the things you want to do, achieve, bucket list, personally, all this. Then they go, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Why are you waiting until then to make these things occur? So for me, yeah, I've thought about the type of 80-year-old man I want to be. I want to be, God, and I'm going to say this word, and please, women, understand my meaning on this word, okay? I like the idea of the patriarch, okay? Sorry, okay? But the patriarch in terms of, hey, remember the old show Bonanza, okay? The old grandpa there who had the ranch? That's what I want. Look. My kid's mom is going to stay in Dallas. She's remarried. I love her new husband. They got their life. That's great. My kids and my grandkids will have that. I know whether I am this just super cool, good looking old 80-year-old man. I don't know whether I have a spouse. I don't know, but I want to be near water and have a place where my kids and my grandkids can come and hang with me, and whoever, spouse, partner, family, friends are in my life. And I love that's my legacy. I want that place to leave to them, to where, hey, grandpa's kind of like this crazy, super fun, engaged, running around dude who's going to teach you about life and tell you how it is. And to me, that's a positive patriarch. That's the good thing, And yeah, I think about it. And I want to stick around.
And if you and I are sitting around when you're 80, and I sit down with you and play a hologram of us, and we've turned this video into a hologram, okay, and we're at your place that you're speaking of, what would you like to think of the man today?
I like this man a lot better than I was 20 years ago. I think this man is, I would feel pretty good about this right now. And I would hopefully look at that with you and me and everybody sitting around and go, that was the beginning. Boy, how far you've come. That you have those pivotal, those seminal moments when you go, oh yeah, that was, and I've talked to several friends of mine who do things like this or podcasts or whatever, who have these moments, whether it's a certain guest or a certain event or certain thing, they go, okay, you're going to look back on this and you go, that was the one. Yeah, I think I could look at this time in my life right now and go, okay, that was the beginning. That was the beginning of that next chapter of you just crushing it and just really coming into your own. And I say that, I said it a minute ago. Yeah, I'm 52, but do I feel like I'm 35 or 40, because I feel like I've kind of been in like the deep freeze, raising some great kids. And, and this is important. Okay. Before we go, this is an important thing. I told you some of the things I've told my kids. One of the things I'm so proud of, and why I say I'm a 2% dad, meaning 2% awesome, was, my kids are in Dallas, and one of them I'm talking to a while back, and I talk to my kids about everything. We, friends who hear the conversations with me and my kids, we'll talk about the deep stuff, personal stuff, business stuff, everything, and they're shocked by the conversations that we have in a positive way. But one of my kids said to me, he goes, it's funny, he goes, my friends don't talk to their dads like this. at all. And I go, really? Because to me, it was just second nature. And they go, no. And they mentioned one friend in particular who, their dad's loaded. I mean, like loaded. Okay. They can have anything in the world. They do everything all over the world. It is just, making it rain, crazy money. But they hate their dad. They don't talk to their dad. Their dad is never there. And this kid is, almost 20 years old and doesn't have a relationship and doesn't know their dad. And my kid said, the cool thing is, because they've seen me up and down. I mean, I don't hide that fact. You can't hide that fact. I've been way up and I've been way down. I've been up again. But they said those kids had all the money, but they never had their dad. And now that they're grown out of the house and are going to be adults, they'll never have that relationship with their dad. We've had this with you, and we're always going to have that with you. And you have this ability to go out and go and make tangible shit happen like that. But the other, you'll never get back. I mean, look, if I walked downstairs from this building and I got hit crossing the street, I would be supremely happy and confident in the fact that, those three things I did, that's my legacy. And that's not to say, having kids is great, because you can do it 1,050 different other ways. But for me, that's something I look back on because I did not have that, and I had to fucking craft this, blindly. I mean, I was completely winging it, and I intuitively did it right, and that is the thing I'm most proud of about being a good guy. If nothing else, I can say I'm a good man where that's concerned, and that I'm happy about.
Great. Bradley, thank you so much for your time and your thoughts, and most importantly, for being a really good man. Thank you.
Thank you. Loved it. And I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being a part of Dr. Juliana. Thank you for listening to Man-Made Conversations with Good Men. If you are interested by what you heard, please press the like button and comment in my YouTube channel and subscribe to the series. We'd also love for you to comment and share on social media platforms. If you know a good man or are a good man, contact me at drjulianamorris@gmail.com. It's drjulianamorris@gmail.com, or let me know of your recommendation in the comment sections. Thank you for joining the Conversations with Good Men, Man-Made.